What does it mean to be human? We talk of humanism. We talk of humanistic philosophies as if it's a monolithic sense in which you can answer that. Humanism itself comes from about 7 different philosophical perspectives, but we use the word human being, not human doing. So we have to answer, what does it mean to be human? How do we get to the truth? How do we know what is ultimately true? It was Winston Churchill who said, truth is the most valuable thing in the world, so valuable that oftentimes it is covered by a bodyguard of lies. You can't go the existential route and only define yourself by what you do. You have to go the essential route by defining who you are. Who you are ought to be the basis on which you behave the way you do. What you do results from your very being. May I suggest to you, the Judeo-Christian worldview is the only one that will give you answers that correspond to reality and coherently answer this question: what does it mean to be human? There are 4 basic categories that I wish to bring to you. Number 1 is the category of creation. We are not here by accident. We are here by divine purpose and divine pattern. When Pilate was dealing with the question of truth, he looked at Jesus in John chapter 18 and said, "What is truth?" And he walked away, not even waiting for the answer. Imagine the irony of that. Having the very embodiment of truth, asking the question, what is truth? And he walked away. But listen to me carefully, please. He walked away, had Jesus beaten, the Bible says had him flogged, brought him out with a crown of thorns and a purple robe, and he uttered that famous phrase that has come down through history, Ecce homo, behold the man. Ecce homo, behold the man. I am going to do my best within the limited time I have this afternoon to try to answer this question for you. What does it mean to be human? When we say ecce homo, when you think of what it is that Jesus said about what it means to be human, you realize the exactitude was so extraordinary, because a man comes to him and says to him, "Is it all right to pay taxes to Caesar? Give to Caesar that which belongs to Caesar, but give to God that which belongs to God." The man should have had a second question. That question was, what belongs to God? He looked at the coin. Whose image? Caesar. Give to Caesar that which belongs to Caesar. Give to God that which belongs to God. The man should have said, what belongs to God? Jesus would have said, whose image is on you? You are not lost in a sea of humanity. Your value is both general and particular. You have a particular value that is distinctively you. Persons are unique. They are distinct. Don't anyone ever minimize who you are as a singular individual. Don't ever try to be somebody else. Don't feign at being somebody else. You are a person with a DNA, and God's image is on you in a general sense. God's unique gifting is in you in a particular sense. When I was 17 years old, I would never have dreamed that I'd be standing here at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta some years from now, talking to over 60,000 youth live and many online. Because at the age of 17, I was on a bed of suicide, having attempted to take my own life. And God, who's sovereign over the whole universe, tapped the shoulder of one man who had come to India from Calgary, Alberta, and told him to send somebody into my hospital room with a Bible. And till this day, now at the age of 73, 56 years later, I stand before and I say to you, why on earth did a sovereign God care enough to speak to somebody to come into that hospital room and speak to me? The day you wake up and it dawns on you that you matter to God as an individual, that you never realize the dreams and the plans that He has for you, and the fulfillment He can bring in and through you, the majestic name that He holds is willing to indwell you. Think of this. He's dying on the cross to bring redemption to the whole world. Two things about the incarnation: the absoluteness of the moral law and the supremacy of love. The absoluteness of the moral law and the supremacy of love. What does that mean? The moral law has boundaries. There is no such thing as free love. Free love is a contradiction in two words. Love was never intended to be free. So we see the supremacy, the absoluteness of the moral law and the supremacy of love. The Bible uses four words for love: agape, storge, phileo, eros. Agape, God's love; storge, protective love; phileo, friendship love; eros, romantic love. Do you know that in Christian consummate marriages, it is only a Christian marriage there in every way that brings the four of these together in consummate expression? On one occasion, speaking to the United Nations prayer breakfast, they asked me to speak on absolutes, a tough subject with many cultures in front of you, 18 minutes or so in which to do it and offend nobody. So I said, what are absolutes? We're looking for boundaries, points of reference. I said, there are four absolutes we look for: evil, justice, love, and forgiveness. Defining evil, defining justice, defining love, and knowing when we've blown it to be forgiven. I said, they're sitting, listening very carefully. What's this got to do with the gospel? Evil, justice, love, and forgiveness. I just trying to be kind to everybody. 5 minutes left. I said, I want to ask you a question. Where on earth did four of these converge at one moment in history? And they were just staring at me. I said, may I take you to a hill called Calvary, where the evil in the heart of man was shown, where the love of God was displayed, where God honors His own law in justice and brings grace to forgive you and me. On the hill of Calvary, the four absolutes absolutely came together. I sometimes think about the cross and shut my eyes and try to see the cruel nails, the crown of thorns, and Jesus crucified for me. But even could I see Him die, I would but see a little part of that great love which like a fire is always burning in His heart. You are valuable to God. Don't ever minimize your individuality. The very word individual means you cannot be divided up. You are unique and a composite, fashioned in the image of God for a particular purpose. Creation. But you move from creation, an intrinsic worth and reflective splendor, you move to the incarnation, that Jesus is that eke homo. He reflects for you and me what it actually meant to be human.